my name is Farida, and I talk to Black women and Muslim women about living a life of ease through remote work and travel. If you are interested in those topics, please like, comment, and subscribe. So today I'm coming to you with a company that I've talked about before. However, they are now hiring like crazy, so I'm going to talk about it again, and that company is Stride. I've worked for Stride, and I have a previous video about my experiences, which were mostly positive, and I've got to recommend them. They're doing great work in the remote teaching field. They have so many other positions available besides teaching, marketing, finance, IT. So they do have corporate roles, and they do have academic roles, enrollment specialists. They have, of course, teachers. And I'm going to be talking about the teaching roles today, but definitely go on Stride and see what other career opportunities they have. Over 90% of Stride's roles are remote, so most of their roles you will be able to find and get on and work from the comfort of your own home. They are hiring for a middle school social studies teacher in Texas, a middle school intervention math teacher in Texas, a high school social studies teacher in Texas, a middle school English teacher in South Carolina, elementary special ed teacher in South Carolina, high school science teacher in Virginia, a special ed substitute teacher that is remote, 40 hours a week, and an elementary teacher. This is Texas. So even though these positions are remote, some of them you do have to be living in a certain state, so keep that in mind. Even though you're working from home, you do have some responsibilities for testing at the end of the year. So for Texas, it would be the STAR test that I would have to go at the end of the year, and proctor exams. Set up their computers, get them ready, get their little pencils, paper, give them a little snacky snack and all of that good stuff, just like you would do as a regular teacher at the end of the year. So that part is not remote. You do have to go to a central location, and you do have to proctor and, help those kids take their tests. Here are the requirements to work for Stride. You need to have a bachelor's degree in education or the relevant subject and 6 months or more of student teaching. You need active state teaching certification. You do need to pass a background check. Need to make sure that our kiddos are safe and in safe hands, especially online. And you need to have residency within the United States. As I said before, some states you have to be specifically in the state that's required. Also, you need to have a home office that's free of distractions. This home office needs to have, the basic setup so that you can teach your classes, and Stride will provide you with the equipment. However, you just need to have that distraction-free room. Reliable high-speed internet and technology proficiency. You need to be familiar with Microsoft, Excel, Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, platforms like Zoom, Neuro, Blackboard, or Brightspace. So what will you be doing in these teaching roles? Of course, you'll be teaching. Of course, you're going to have a very, very large cohort of students because it is remote work. So you're gonna get more than the typical amount of students per class. Usually live instruction, you'll do about 15 hours per week. I personally had 4 classes. Each class had about 70, 80 students. So I had a lot of students. You're going to do lesson planning, grading, communicating with students and parents, and data tracking. You need to give data-driven instruction, and you'll have a lot of meetings with your peers and colleagues. and you'll monitor progress and report and learn how to read metrics. And you will collaborate with coaches, administrators, and other teacher teams. The pay is roughly $50K per year. If you have additional degrees or certs, you might get extra income, but that is basically the base pay, depending on your location. Some locations pay a little bit less, some pay a little bit more, and that is just one of the sacrifices that you make to work at home. You're gonna sacrifice the paycheck that you're used to getting at a brick and mortar school. All right, well, if you are interested in working for Stride, now's the time to start applying because they are hiring like crazy. Get in there and get your job. I will talk to you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.